The following podcast is a production of the Podpire Network. Find and listen to our podcasts at thepodpirenetwork.com or wherever you enjoy your podcast. The Podpire Network, a family of inspired podcasts.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Enabling Motion, the podcast where we talk about technology that keeps people moving. This is actually our season finale, and we're going to recap some things and talk about some things regarding the past season. So let's start off with a question to my co-hosts, Marc and Owen, and I'm Sibel. What's the most novel or out-of-box thing that we covered this season that comes to mind?
Cool. I'm excited about this. I think all the things we talked about this season were so much fun. Out of the box things, how about the third thumb?
Third thumb was really cool, yeah. Literally expanding what the human hand can do. That's epic.
I love that.
Epic.
We have so much space to improve or modify the human body with the technology that's emerging out of P&O. I think we should absolutely use it.
No,
I think it'd be very cool. I could picture myself with a third thumb.
I could definitely picture you with a third thumb too.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
I was disagreeing. But Owen, that was a great topic, man.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, no, and it was so great. Honestly, Danny Claude is just a great designer in this field. Also, her work with the
alternative limb project. There you go.
Alternative limb project. Oh, I can't believe I blanked on the name. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Work there was also fantastic. I think that stuff is absolutely
it's so cool, phenomenal. And that ties into what the most sort of creative topics that we talked about. And it's a branch of this that I'm so excited for because we focus on the function a lot, but what about the expression? What about the art? What about the creativity? What about the personalization? And just how cool we can start making things. I've said this last week or a few weeks ago too. It's like, that's something that I want to get involved with as I get better and better at manufacturing, is like, I want to start making wild out of the box things. Inspector Gadget is my motivation. He is that's like what I see in my mind.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Steampunk art and that sort of stuff really appeals to me too.
The cyberpunk, the solar punk. I want to start putting solar panels in arms. How about as far as creative, novel, out of the box things? What about the music rehab? So it's not P&O.
I think that's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not P&O. That's not P&O, but that's definitely helping people move. And it's really cool to see someone kind of mostly from the software space coming forward and applying it into something that is able to help someone rehabilitate. And is responsive to the way their body works. It was just really powerful.
Super cool. And I really would love to get that on my iPod, somehow have it work. And like what we were talking about on that episode too, using it in the gym. I think that.
Oh my God. Yeah. A gym. If anyone, when that happens, when someone comes up with that app that like changes the music according to your exercise.
Well, you just like tie it into your Fitbit or something, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, it's already there. We just need like the inertial sensor. Something. I don't know. Okay, take it from out of the creative space and let's talk about technologies that weren't the focus of our episodes, but kept coming up and that we think might have the most potential to break ground or move the field forward in terms of like innovation and stuff.
I think like what's like what we should also mention is that even when we're talking about things with a lot of that are more focused on function, those also require a lot of creativity in order to get those started. And I think that's most notably in the 3D printing technology. I think we've done like 3, 4, or 5 different topics that had touched on 3D printing at some part or entire devices that it does require a lot of creative and out-of-the-box thinking to look at what materials you have, what is available to you, and then being able to create something that's going to
and even just the logistics, like the logistics of actually 3D printing, like how do I make the pieces of what I'm trying to print so that they actually are good? Like I know just messing around with my 3D printer, like the amount of supports and all of this stuff when you're trying to make bigger things, it's such you use so much material, it takes so long.
Oh man, you're bringing back like terrible memories from when I had mine.
It does.
Oh, wow.
And so
yeah, absolutely.
You're right, that is also a creative side, and I think that 3D printing is a good example. How about artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms?
So specifically machine learning, right? Like it keeps showing up. I think the biggest thing about it is, and a lot of your topics had this, where machine learning allowed us to get better signals and better
like the actual
reading.
Processing of the signals. Yeah.
Right. Basically, where like I remember when, so like in the last episode where we were talking about the paraplegic using the exoskeleton to kick off the World Cup, one of the things there was that the biggest bit of like research was figuring out what the brain signals were doing, and machine learning is allowing us to really, really push forward. And even when, say, we're not getting the perfect signals, we're still able to figure out what's going on. And so its ability to fast track beyond perfect signal acquisition sometimes, I think, is what's really, really cool.
Well, absolutely. And like I talked about one thing before too, right? That like,
oh yeah, disclaimer, we're not experts. We're just sort of, we're all just kind of discussing things right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're still students.
Yeah, we're students, guys. Just so you know,
right.
We don't really know anything.
This is all speculation.
We're shooting the breeze.
That's right. But the software, going like just looking at from 2014 to now, like the sophistication of the AI, where we're being able to take readings from brains, have the AI, or take readings from peripheral nerves, have the AI interpret that and stimulate muscle, and like that being able to be learned by users like within hours. Yeah. Opposed to the infancy of this technology.
Yeah, we saw that with the device that I did, the one where they had individual finger control.
Yeah, exactly.
Hours.
Really
Again,
cool.
Because of machine learning, just fascinating.
So that ties us into another common piece of tech is actually the things that are extracting signals. So the signal acquisition. I've talked a lot about like brain implanted electrodes, like the flexible electrodes that are going to be generating better, but even the peripheral nerve surgeries that are putting EMG or EEG electrodes right into the peripheral nerves.
That's going to be something I think where it's like there's a lot of potential, but there's always going to be that trade-off. And with signal acquisition, the thing that really intrigues me also is ultrasound. So there's been a lot of work towards using ultrasound-based systems which analyze the cross-sectional shape of a muscle. And when the shape of the muscle changes, that's seen as a signal. And so I do think that we will get much, much better at invasive technologies where we're able to effectively just very quickly put in implants so that we have a signal coming from right next to the motor nerve. But I also think that our non-invasive technologies are going to be getting much, much better. The real question is going to be, what is going to win out? And there will always be a preference for non-invasive because, as we all know, anything that's implanted is likely to have reactions and all sorts of other things that come into play when you've put something into the body. What are your thoughts?
No, I totally agree. I also would love to see more of the non-invasive just because it's just so much less scary for people that actually really need it.
Yeah.
Even though, like, just as a biology nerd, I'm like, the invasive stuff, I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. Like, you're interacting with these cellular mechanisms. I'm like, I think that's really cool. but you got to realize like what that experience would be like, the fear that brings with it. Definitely cool to see. So now let's jump to another important trend and topics that we've talked about, a little bit away from technology, more about movements, more about like collective work that people are doing, global initiatives. The accessibility in a lot of countries, it's a very global field, but the accessibility to P&O in lots of countries isn't the same as we might be used to here in Toronto. And I think it's a important note to mention some of the people that are doing great work in that, like the
Owen, you had two topics.
Your topic.
You gave us two organizations.
Yes, the Victoria Hand Project, making sure getting hands, forearms out to developing countries, as well as the Jaipur Foot Project. That is getting many different kinds of limbs. To a lot of people. It is the
largest one in the world, right?
Is the largest not-for-profit prosthetic organization in the world.
That's really cool. I think that it's go ahead, Sibel.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. I think there's something very universal about this. It's also one of the oldest fields of medicine in a way. Like, a missing limb is one of the fundamental concepts of things that we tried to fix.
I could fill another 5 minutes with just all of the very interesting and cool history of how prosthetics have been developed over the years.
What a journey, from the peg leg to
where we are now.
There were a lot of prosthetics before the peg leg.
Really?
that we could talk about.
Be interesting.
Okay, so someday we're gonna get this
do a history
onto one platform where Owen's gonna give us the history of prosthetics.
I love that. The global initiative stuff also kind of touched on something else that's really important. Is the affordability, and I think some of the potential technologies like 3D printing is going to help with the affordability, but making things more accessible and more affordable is something that I think everybody in this field should start to focus on. All the innovators, anybody that's making changes, breaking ground, should keep that in mind. Something that maybe we can talk about a little bit next season as well would be people that are working to make things more affordable. And something that just came to my mind too is, how about the environmental impact of manufacturing prosthetics? Because there's some topics that I've come across that I also would love to talk about next season that touch on more using more sustainable, environmentally friendly materials to accomplish the same goal as current standards.
That's true. Yeah, it's. I mean, let's talk about that a little bit. It's the materials that are required to have a prosthetic or an orthotic. They much of the time kind of limits what kind of materials you're going to be using because of the function that they have. So you're not really seeing a lot of prosthetics or orthotics being made out of things like biodegradable materials. So because they're prone to breaking down, it's difficult. I think that would be great if we could see some groups.
Yeah, I would love to showcase some things that we find next season. So speaking of which, potential things that we might talk about next season, we got to get more powered wheelchairs, accessible mobility devices. We have them lined up, but there's so much that we can talk about on here. So expect more of that, and as well other just within that entire scope, more accessible vehicles and things that aren't strictly P&O, but are going to still be helping people move.
Yeah, this is enabling motion, talking about things that get you moving. And you
there's
know,
lots.
Unfortunately, we live in a society that requires the majority of people to have cars. So, you know, talking about like accessible vehicles as well.
Yeah, definitely. So,
yeah,
Sibel, Owen, I think this brings us to a very important moment in our season.
That I think everyone is invested in.
The champ.
We are.
I'm invested.
Oh God,
invested. I have here a sealed envelope. I don't.
Wait, I have the sealed envelope.
You have the sealed. Okay,
Where's
sorry.
the seal?
I'll pass it back over to you.
Oh no, I looked.
Oh wait, I don't have it.
I have the sealed envelope.
All right.
Drum roll, please. This season's all-time winner for most interesting topic. Most interesting, just I don't know. Favorite
topic.
It's a tie.
Okay.
Who made
give
that
us the
happen?
breakdown, please.
All right. Episode 1, episode 2, 3-way tie. We all picked someone else's. Episode 3. That was the neural sleeve, the flexible brain, the Japer foot. Oh, and you won with the Japer foot, man.
Nice.
Well done. Episode 4. I took it with the brain implant and stimulation sleeve that was helping it was helping quadriplegic people grasp.
Right. Yeah.
The episode 5, Sibel, you took it with the DARP arm, the
right.
Luke arm.
Yeah.
You know, that was very, very cool topic.
Yeah.
And episode 6, nice tie. 7, Owen, you took it with your. Describe it was the upper limb like exoskeleton that helps you work above your head.
Yeah. It's the Hilti Exo One that helps with overhead work.
Oh, that's the one with it's the Hilti Autobot collab, right?
Yes, the Hilti Autobot collaboration.
Nice.
Cool.
And then episode 8, I took it with the ARC intramuscular and the ARC or the ARC implantable and the ARC external.
Where
those were the spinal interface or the spinal bypasses.
Right. The one where like someone who was paralyzed for like 14 years could walk again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Okay.
We see why that.
We can definitely understand why that one was picked.
And then for episode 9, similar idea, and you took that with the FIFA World Cup.
The FIFA World Cup.
Was it the FIFA World Cup?
Yeah, it was the FIFA World Cup. Yeah, Brazil. Yeah.
I mean, I think I should have won those first 2. So really.
Wow.
I think could we get a recount on those first 2?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
so
wait,
all are
we
equal.
forgot one.
Oh yeah.
Episode 10.
This winner, episode.
The MVP is.
Oh yes.
Our producer. BB.
The MVP is our producer, BB.
We gotta give him some.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our BB, the producer.
Yeah. Unfortunately, since we each have
is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you to BB.
Yeah, unfortunately, since we all have 2 wins, he only gets 1 win, so he is the only loser out of the 4 people involved.
Oh goodness!
And we just got canceled.
I hate to put the damper on the sweet moment,
we're not getting
lose.
a second season.
We are no longer a podcast on the Podpire Network.
Oh man, gentlemen, it has been such a pleasure doing this together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
love you all.
Yeah, to our listeners,
it's been also a pleasure to share this with all of you. If you've been enjoying our podcast, if you've been listening to all the episodes and you made it this far, or you skipped until the end, I won't judge. It'd be really great if you could take some time to rate, follow, subscribe, whatever the function is on the
platform
site of your choice to listen to us.
Right.
It really helps out a lot. It really gets our name out there. It gets people to be recommended.
Absolutely.
So if you could take some time to do that,
we would greatly.
I know that all three of us would appreciate it.
We greatly appreciate it. And also, give us some feedback. We would love to hear from you all. Yeah. We would also love to hear about topics that you would want to hear more about next season, or if there's things that you'd like to be described more in depth. If there's any concepts or anything that you feel like you'd want to be educated on more. I know in the future we hope to become a bit more rounded with maybe a sister podcast or YouTube videos where we do a bit of more strictly education. And we'd love to hear,
like, for example, what Owen was talking about, giving us like the history of prosthetics. Like, yeah, absolutely. For our listeners to give us some feedback about that, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to hear what your ideas are. Anything that you want to hear about. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah. And I'll sweeten that deal. The first listener who reaches out to us after this episode, we will buy them a coffee.
Sibel will buy you a coffee.
All right.
I'm saving up for Mexico. No, I'm just kidding.
Sibel will drive to the nearest Tim Hortons, put it in a mailbox, and mail you a coffee.
Just a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
You get 10 beans. That is what's required for a coffee.
It's a build your own coffee.
Build your own coffee. Hey, we're fabricators, so
some assembly is required.
Well, we're soon to be fabricators.
Thank you, everyone. All right, guys, that's it.